Got it! Got it!
All of a sudden, I'm hearing everyone talking about, bigging up Kai Havertz, giving him credit. I'm saying, all done. A few weeks ago, even a week ago, these were the same people. And I listen, I know these guys, right? I've been watching them for a long time. And people around me, I've been hearing the criticism. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's singing Kai Havertz praise. Like, come on, man. These guys have some selective memories because... So we lost against Lens in the first match we played against them at their home. And I was very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. And if you watch my prediction for that match, I predicted a 5-0. A 5 or a 6-0. That's what I predicted in that match. Or 4 or 5. But I know I said something about 5. Either 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 goals. And straight away, people has been commenting saying that one guy said that, this guy must don't know that Lens came second last season to PSG in their league. And another person was saying that normally when Arsenal play against these teams, we always lose against smaller opposition or teams that's not performing, I should say. And then for that match, they were proven to be right. They were correct for that match because we lost that match. But now we see that it's not just that. We came back for revenge. And this is something I realized with Arteta. Arteta is a guy that he loves revenge. He's a revengeful character. So Arteta came up pumping. If you remember the Amazon Prime that they done, there was a part where Arteta basically tried to motivate the players by showing them clips or showing them tweets from Ivan Toney, right? And it got them gassed, it got them fired up. So Arteta loves a bit of banter, right? But it doesn't take it as banter, it takes it seriously. So I know after the way they celebrated, you see how they celebrated after they won. You know Arteta is get angry. You know the players are, especially Gabriel. Some of our players are very, what do you call it now? Some of our players are also very revengeful. And I know that Gabriel Magalhaes is one of them. I know that what he's going to make it his point of duty to play hard. And you could see in one of his reaction after he defended a last grass shot and goal. You can see after we were winning 6-0 already. And you can see, or 5-0, and you can see by the way he's celebrating, shows that, man, this means a lot to me. I'm not conceding to these guys again. It's not happening. So I love to see that. I love my players when they're fired up, when they're firing on all fronts. I love it. I love to see it. So, Lens, know yourself. You're not on our level. You're not on our level. So they were so for that match, they were proven right. So for that match, that guy was proven right. But I know our quality. I believe in our quality, the quality in our players and the quality of the manager and the way we set up. I believe in it. So this is the scoreline I've been predicting from the first match. So we see that we have the potential to slap teams up 6-0. We have that potential, and we proved that last night. Now, I'm not saying this was our best performance, because if it's not for me, even though we were so emphatic, even though we performed so well on the attacking sense of the game, for me this wasn't our best display. I will always go back to City and say that's our performance of the season, because of what it meant, because of the psychological edge, because of the mind games, because of how we dominated that game against the best team in the world. For me, that will always be the best match of the season until we beat Liverpool in a very convincing way, or we beat Man City again in a even more convincing way. That's when I'll say that's all. We win the Champions League final, beating Real Madrid. If, to be honest, right now, if we go to the Champions League semi-finals, quarterfinals, and we beat PSG, we beat whoever we beat, getting there, PSG, Bayern Munich, all these big teams, for me it's not a big deal. I would say the only two teams that I will say that, listen, I am wary of are Real Madrid and Man City. And right now we're going toe-to-toe with Man City. So that's why I don't fear anyone else. Man City won the Champions League last season and they're the best team in the world. So why should I fear anyone else? We beat them already and we're on top of the league. In the same league they're in. They're beneath us in the league, being number 2. So why should I fear anyone else? So that's my reasons why I believe that, listen, we can go all the way. we can go all the way in both competition because we've got a key figure in Declan Rice that we didn't have last season. So I'm just going to get into some stats. I don't want to make this video too long, so we're just going to get into some stats. So this was the team that started. We see David Raya came back into the team after Brentford, and he got a very good rating. He got a 7.8, and he looks more comfortable. He looks more acclimatized to the team for me. Anyways, and then we got Zinchenko playing at a 6.8. Wasn't his best performance, but he didn't do much wrong. Gabriel Magalhaes, the best defender, well, the second best defender on the night at 7.2. William Saliba, many people are saying that William Saliba had a poor match, but for me, he didn't have a bad match. It was just that why he was superb. And it's not, he didn't score a goal. It's just the way he was playing. And he beat William Saliba twice. 2 times he beat William Saliba. And people have been criticized Saliba, saying that Saliba had his worst performance. And for me, it wasn't that. It was just that. What sometimes you have to give credit to the attacker or the opponent player, right? The opponent. And it was the case in this situation that why he was superb. He's got good speed, he's got good pace, and he's got a very, very, very quick feet. So this is what he beat Saliba twice in the same position on the same side. And I don't blame William Saliba. If that was a goal now, then I will start to kind of blame him, because then, even though he's fast, you should be able to get back to defend that goal. At least defend a shot. Stop blocking a shot on goal. But to be beaten by a pace or a trickery or a turn, I can't really blame Saliba for that. That's just how it gets. If he's a good player, that will happen sometimes. So even though I know that we respect Saliba very highly, we have to give credit to why he's a very good striker. Tomiyasu was my man of the match once again. Now, I wouldn't, probably not man of the match, but it was very, very, very good than that. And as you can see, he's getting linked to renewing his contract, and for me, that's a very welcoming sign, because he's starting to perform at the level that he was the season when he came in. He's starting to produce quality at that level, and he's been criticized a lot, saying that he's not as good as Ben White going forward, but in this match he proved that he was good going forward. And we're going to take some more look into Tomiyasu further on in the video. Kai Havertz scoring a goal, 7.3. I've been listen, all of a sudden I'm hearing everyone talking about bigging up Kai Havertz, giving him credit. I'm saying, hold on, a few weeks ago, even a week ago, these were the same people, and I listen, I know these guys, right? I've been watching them for a long time, and people around me, I've been hearing the criticism. Now all of a sudden everyone's singing Kai Havertz praise. Like, come on, man, these guys have some selective memories, because this is it where, if you watch my videos, I've been banging on the drum saying, listen, Kai Havertz will come good, give him time. Yes, I've criticized him one time, and the reason being is because he didn't produce at the level, in terms of he wasn't being aggressive enough. And this is why I expected, if you're not going to score goals as an attacker in the team or create assists, create chances, then you play hard. And he always play hard apart from one match. That's the only time I criticize him. And that lead me on to this point where I'm going to calm down with my criticism. Reason being, I remember when I was criticizing Bukayo Saka from the start of the season, saying that, listen, he's not been performing, what's going on, he must be injured. And even though he was injured a bit, that wasn't the full story, as my last video might have explained. It was because he was trying to figure out a way and how to get out of these 2 or 3 players basically always marking him. He's trying to find a way out. And we're criticizing, me for one, has been criticizing him, saying that it doesn't look the same, something is wrong. But it's just that he was being heavily marked, and he's just trying to find a way to produce, even though he's been under pressure, marking by 2 or 3 players. And it's the same thing with Odegaard. I've been criticizing Odegaard for the past few matches, that he's not been playing well, that he looks different. He's not turning the same, he's not doing these dropping the shoulder, he's not having shots. He just looks different. And little to know that Odegaard has been suffering with a concussion. He suffered a concussion in training, and not just that, he had an hip injury as well. So that's where it was. And you know that those pivot, those turns, those sharp movement, it has a lot to do with your hips. So once again, I apologize to Saka, I apologize to Odegaard, because this is sometimes that we criticize and make wrong judgment, but we should be basically man enough to come back and say that, listen, I was wrong and I apologize. And that's what I'm doing right now, because And going forward, as what I said, I'm going to try. I'm not saying I will. I'm going to try reserving on my judgment, because sometimes we can't see what, and that's another one. Ben White. I've been criticizing Ben White as well. Little to know that this guy was playing through injury. Well, I think it was it. Someone actually said that. Was it Rob Olden? Rob Olden said that. Listen, Ben White, he will be playing with injury, and no one would know because it's just that it's his character. He's a hard worker. He's a grafter. He basically he underestimates everything in terms of his injury, what he's feeling in his body. And this was it that Arteta said that, listen, he was injured, but he still wanted to play, and he didn't understand why he had to sit out, because he still feel like he could play. So we have to reserve our criticism sometimes and understand, listen, some players, sometimes they're just injured. So we see that Gabriel Jesus at an 8.7, Bukayo Saka at an 8.5, and they played absolutely brilliant. I love to see them on the ball. Now, this was the stats of the match where we scored 6 goals, and we overperformed our XG we doubled our XG in terms of goals compared to our expected XG. Shots, we had 14, and we had 8 on target. Now, this might be misleading because it's a game of two halves in terms of how we attack them. In the first half, we had 8 shots and we had 6 on target. And I always say this, the more shots you have on target is the more you're going to score. So no wonder why we scored 6 goals. 5 in the first half. Having 8 shots and 6 on target and scoring 5 of them, that's a brilliant return. Absolutely phenomenal return. But in the second half, we see we got slow. So we had 2 shots on target in the second half. So this is where it slowed down drastically. Now, one thing I want to highlight in this is the possession. Well, not one, 3 things: the possession, the pass, and the field tilt. Now, this was the worst field tilt I've seen all season, and perhaps even last season. Throughout the season, we've been dominating in the field tilt, 75 or 70% or more. Most times it's 75, 76% dominance in the field tilt. But we see we got 56. Another thing, the passes. We had less passes than Lens and less completed. We had less possession than Lens. And we won 6-0 at home. Now, this has me thinking, Arteta has pulled one over on the Lens manager. And I could see on the touchline. When they showed the Lens manager, you could see on his face like, nah, this is a scam. This is absolute scam. He tricked me. Because they came expecting us to play one way and we played totally different. Because we played so different that even surprised like us as fans. Because, and that showed on the scoreline. We've never scored 5 goals in the first half this season. And I can't remember doing that last season either. 5 goals in the first half. And it's because we surprised them. They didn't expect. I would not have said that we would have lost possession for the whole match to anyone except for Man City. Especially Lens. Especially a team that's going to be knocked out the Champions League. I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have said that we would be losing in passes because we're a possession-based passing team. I wouldn't have said that we'll be so low in the field tilt. But Arteta once again have pulled off a master stroke. And they weren't ready for this one. Lens weren't ready for this one. When you take a look at tackles, we had 27 and 21 successful. And that's another thing where we were grafting, where we fought. We dig deep to fight in this game. And that in return make us won that game, because most of the times I have to link the success of the team in terms of the scores or the winning of the match to the hard working, the tackling, the duels, and we were very good in duels today. Which now this leads me into the duels, the ground duels. So in the ground duels, you see Kai Havertz with 13 ground duels, winning 4, losing 9. This is poor. Reason being, as I've said before, that Kai Havertz is one of my players that I look up to, or I look to when in terms of duels, especially aerial duels and ground duels. He's that type of player. He's a hybrid. Well, before I go any further, I've said that I was going to do a video for comparison between Xhaka and Kai Havertz because I believe that he's been unfairly criticized. I've done the video, but then I believe that I've done it a misjustice, or I could not compare it properly. But I have to tell you, so far, Kai Havertz was winning. Kai Havertz was winning the comparison, but I didn't want to do Kai Havertz a misservice. I wanted to wait till the end of the season to get a full scope. Yeah, what disappointed me with Kai Havertz is because I know him for that, and he hasn't been doing that in this match. He only won 4 ground challenges, he only won 4 ground duels, which is disappointing for me because I expected better from him. Now, Gabriel Martinelli is another one. He had 11 ground duels and he won 3, losing 8. He lose more than he won, and that's very disappointing. And that you can see that on the chart on the left hand side. You can see that over there they lost the ball a lot of time, and that's because of Gabriel Martinelli and Kai Havertz. Those two were playing on the left hand side of the wing and in the middle left. So these two were basically very, 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 very poor in terms of duels loss. Now, Bukayo Saka was one that surprised me because we know that Saka is hard in challenges, but we see over the past few matches, especially in the league, that Saka has been under threat. He's been targeted, hacked down. So that's gonna let him lose a few challenges because most of the time he's been hacked down. He's not been pulled up for a foul, so that's gonna be cutting to losing a duel, right? So for me, Saka will always perform good in duels in Europe because they're not as aggressive on him like in the Premier League. But as I said in the previous videos, next season they're going to start treating Saka like how they treat Vinicius Jr. or Mohamed Salah. They're going to have to put some respect on his name and start treating him like a world-class player. Even in the Champions League, the best team in the world are going to have to treat him like that. Otherwise, they're going to get punished. You see, wherever, accept him as a world-class player like he is, or be punished by him. That's the two options. So when you take a look at Gabriel Jesus, this is why he won the man of the match. He never lets you down. For me, that's what these two players, Kai Havertz, mark my words, start to look into these things when we play. If Kai Havertz or Gabriel Jesus are high in ground duels or aerial duels, then we're going to win that match emphatically as well. And we can see that even though Kai Havertz is low, once Gabriel Jesus is up there, we're going to win. So either, but I would rather have Gabriel J winning because he's a more influential going forward. But it looks like Kai Havertz is trying to stake his claim at being one of the most influential players in the team because last match he got the winner at Brentford, and now I see him twisting up people on the touchline, beating a man on the left wing, and crossing it into Odegaard having a shot. So even nutmeg him, even a nutmeg. So Kai Havertz is growing in confidence, and he will only get better. And another person is Martin Odegaard. Martin Odegaard won 6 out of 10 ground duels. So once again, Odegaard came back strong. I know that we didn't expect Odegaard basically to be this type of player, winning ground duels and things like that, but he's come back harder from injury, and we'll have to see it. When you take a look at aerial duels, once again, these are the reasons why I believe that we need a striker. But I believe that Gabriel Jesus is having a bit of a resurgence in terms of, man, I need to prove myself to this manager. I need to prove myself to the fans. We don't need another striker. I can do what we're going to try to get another striker for, and that's aerial duel mostly and scoring goals, because he's been scoring. He's got four goals now in the Champions League. So every match he's trying to improve his goal scoring record because he's being heavily criticized. So he's saying that, listen, I'm the guy. I'm your guy. So he's saying basically, I'm your guy. You don't need no one else. Once you got me in your team, you don't need no one else. Because he's a short player, and you can see that aerial duels, he had 3 and he won all 3 of them, and he's a small player. And it's not just this match. For the past few matches, even the one that Trossard scored, it was Gabriel Jesus' header that went to Trossard, or the keeper saved it, and then Trossard tapped it in. So we can see that Gabriel Jesus is getting in that position, and he's improving at headers. Yes, he got a few wide. I remember one he got horribly wrong and got it wide. But the fact that he's trying to be more creative in terms of the way he can score and be that type of player in the box. He's trying to be a fox in the box as well as a creator from deep. So I believe that he's trying to improve his overall game, and I'm happy to see it because that shows you how committed he is to the team, not resting on his quality, which is a top quality player, but he's still trying to improve, trying to develop things that he's not as good at, and I love to see it. Kai Havertz, 3 out of 4 aerial duels won, and that's what I'm saying, that this is why we need him in the team, because he's that type of player that Raya could look to, and he edits it down to the player on his left, the player on his right, the player in front of him, and we can keep retention of the ball high up the pitch. And for me, that's a very, 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 very underrated tactics that we could use to overrun teams at times. Now, when it comes down to goals probability added by action, we see that Martin Odegaard is number 1, Saka is number 2, and even last match we see that Saka was number 2 as well, and it's like every match is number 2, and that shows. We see that he's been compared. He's in the same category as Benzema and Luis Suarez, and we know that. We all recognize that Luis Suarez was one of the best strikers at one point, one of the best in the world, and so was Benzema. Benzema has been consistent for years, and for Saka to be in that category for goals and assists, for me, I am happy and I'm proud. Right, I'm happy and I'm proud to have a player like Saka in our team, because he's going to be smashing records left, right and center, and he's got the appetite, he's got the hunger, he's got the drive, he's got the motivation. He has everything that's needed to take him to the top level. So we see that Saka was number 2 once again. Gabriel Martinelli, and Gabriel Martinelli has improved, because this is what I'm saying, that Arteta tricked them, because in the last match Gabriel Martinelli wasn't good at receiving right now, in terms of his goal probability. His passing what it was the same, because he hasn't got a lot of passing in terms of probability, but his carries has improved drastically. His dribbles are less than the last match, so it's like a different dynamic, and his shooting has increased as well, so it's like a different dynamic. Even Saka's shooting has increased in this match compared to the last. So the top 3, Odegaard, Saka and Martinelli, were the basically goal probability added between these 3 are our top players, and basically they are all top players right now in our team. Attackers. Gabriel J is coming back to form. He's coming back to form. For the past, since the season start, he hasn't been up that level that we know he can produce. But these 3 has been fairly consistent for me. And Gabriel J is going to be added to that soon. Now, this tells the full story. Well, it doesn't, but it tells part of the story. The leaders for this match. So most passes, Declan Rice. Once again, Declan Rice had a superb match. For me, the best player in our team. Not the best player of the day, but what he brings to our team. If the only player I will see that we will miss in any match, if he's not playing, is Declan Rice. Everyone else, I believe that we can replace to a certain level. But Declan Rice, there's no one else. Partey is injured. And if it's not, I know Jorginho can cover, but not on the sea. There's going to be a drastic drop. And I know that we possibly lose that match. But with Declan Rice or Saliba, these 2 are basically our most important players. And then Bukayo Saka is in that mix. Not to say that he's not important, but I believe that we can win without Saka. We proved that we beat City without Saka. But last season we see that we kept losing, and William Saliba has about 70 to 75% win rate whenever he's in the team. So we see that we need Saliba and Declan Rice. But Saka, we beat City without Saka. So not to say that we don't need Saka, but it's not as important for me as Declan Rice and William Saliba. So most progressive passes we see Bukayo Saka, most deep completion Saka, most XG change Saka, most build up Saka, most XT passing Saka, most XT receive Martinelli. So we see that Saka was the most the MVP for this match. He didn't win the man of the match, but in terms of the leading, in terms of all these different criteria, these different areas, Saka is the leader for this match. So my thoughts on smashing Lens, and that's the right word to use. We smashed them. We absolutely smashed them. My thoughts are that I've expected this. For my previous video, what I done, a preview for Lens match, the first time when we went to their home, I expected this. So I'm kind of happy, and I'm kind of, okay, we'll do what we needed to do. We do what we know we can do. But I'm also happy with Arteta. Arteta is trying different things, and it's working right now. So we have to congratulate the team and Arteta when his mad geniuses ways work, because we heavily criticize him when he doesn't, because we can't understand, and once we can't understand, we're going to make criticism. So this is it, that I enjoy this match. Wasn't my favorite performance of the season, but it's my favorite first half performance in terms of the attacking display. But I love a bit of chess play, and that match against City will always burn in my mind. I want to see another one like that soon. So catch you in the next video, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Help me on my journey to 1,000 sub. Goodbye.